I say start small. Start small. Dip your toe in the water. See how it works. Get a feel for it.
So why are people not investing?
They're scared.
It's a discipline, scared.
Evan, no, they're scared. But it troubles me immensely now to realize that there's 100 million people in America that don't invest.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful, 10 feet high above them all.
I want them to see the master elevator pitch man. Tell us what Beanstocks is and why we should care.
Well, Beanstocks helps you make the most important decision of your life, investing for your future. I realized going through this whole COVID pandemic thing that so many of my employees haven't saved any money at all. And there's a big difference between saving and investing. The whole idea is you take some number each week and you put it to work as an investment. You do it when you're young and you keep doing it throughout your whole life. So when you retire, when you're 65 or so, you've got some serious money in the bank. We know from the past 50 years that the market returns are kind of 6 to 8% over long periods of time. Now, what I'm shocked about is so many of my employees and the companies that I work with, nobody's saving anything. They're not even investing or saving. So I wanted to change that. And in order to do it, I didn't want to make it complicated where you had to buy and sell stocks and bonds. So many people don't want to do that or don't know how to do it. Beanstocks makes investing really simple. You attach it to your bank account. You decide, I suggest $100 a week. Most people can do that, Evan, you know that. And then it puts it to work in a series of very diversified exchange-traded funds. And those are built so that you can build a very diverse portfolio that just goes to work for you week after week after week after week. You can automate the $100 transfer, or you can decide what and how much you want to do. It doesn't matter. But I tried to make it really simple because you got to start now. Because if you do $100 a week and you're only making, $58,000 a year, the average American salary, you'll end up with, hopefully, if the markets do what they do in the last 50 years, you'll end up with something like $1.5 million in the bank. And that's what you can live off.
Over the years, you've given so many different investing principles, maxims, from never put more than 20% into equity in the gold, or the advice from your mom who spent a third of her paycheck. You're talking about $100 a month. Your mom put a third of her paycheck into Bell bonds for 40 years, and ideas like only spending interest, not the principal, only buy dividend stocks. How much of the Kevin O'Leary strategy for investing is rolled into Beanstocks, or are you just giving it up to the AI to take care of it?
No. I have a philosophy about conservative investing. And if you look at what's inside of Beanstocks, it's reflected in that. Obviously, I've been an investor in Beanstocks and helped fund it because I couldn't find anything like it. But there's very conservative portfolios of companies with strong balance sheets that pay dividends in many cases. And that matters because when you're investing, you want the power of strong balance sheets because they're the ones that don't necessarily collapse in a recession or a downturn like we just went through. But at the same time, you want the compound and investing of dividends in a long-term strategy. That's what my mother taught me. If I could have turned my mother into an investment strategy, she would have been called Beanstocks. That's what would have happened. And that's the way I look at it. And I'm really proud of the platform. I tell everybody I talk to now, all the millennials I work with, download it, check it out, look at it. It's free to download, have a look at it. And it's very, very simple. Try it and see if you can get into the discipline it provides of putting something aside each week. That was another one of my mother's edicts. She did a third of his paycheck. You mentioned that, Evan. That's a lot for people. If you can just do 10%, that's spectacular. If you can just do 10. But this idea of investing a little bit in yourself, there's always something every week, some piece of crap you don't have to buy that you don't need, that you're going to throw out in 6 months. Why do that? Ask yourself, imagine I'm on your shoulder every day, looking at you as you're picking something up, you're about to buy another pair of sneakers, saying, don't do that, don't do that, invest in your future. That's what Beanstocks is for.
I love it. So why are people not investing?
They're scared.
It's a discipline, scared.
Evan, no, they're scared. They hear all these slick terms, you got to be a stock picker. There's a lot of people that want to try and do that. I'm okay with that. But if you really want to invest, that's not day trading. And you need to understand that when you're investing, you're trying to find positions you're going to buy and hold on to over a long period of time. And so, some people get intimidated saying, well, I don't know how to buy stocks and bonds. I don't want to set up an account for that. That's why I developed Beanstalks, to make it super simple. I mean, basically, you download it, you tell it a little bit about yourself, you link it to your bank account, you tell it what to take out and put into your investment account, and it's a great way even to save cash because it gives you an interest rate on that. It's a savings vehicle, but more importantly, it's an investing vehicle. And people, I say start small. Start small. Dip your toe in the water. See how it works. Get a feel for it. Put a few $100s in and then understand what's going on. And then invest for the long term. That's what Beanstalks is all about.
And is it just $5 a month for the whole thing?
Yeah, I wanted to make it real easy. You know, I talked to so many people about it. And there's all kinds of different schemes and costs and fees. I said, screw all that. Make it really transparent and easy. No matter how much you invest, it stays at $5 a month. That's how it works. That's how we're starting it. That's how the foreseeable future looks. And I think people want that. They appreciate the transparency. They see, okay, one price, one fee, and I can put in $200 a month. I can put in $1,000 a month. I can put 500, whatever it is. Get to work. Start investing. Look, I live in the financial services industry, and I realize we do very complex stuff with bonds and stocks and private equity and hedge funds and all that. But that's not the average person. They don't want to do that. They just want to find a way to safely invest and do it in a way that they can understand that's transparent and makes it easy. That's the key. Simple investing, that's the theme of Beanstalks. That what I think I've achieved it, Evan. I think people should have a look at it.
So I guess for people, is this only for someone who's purely starting up, who hasn't ever invested in something, or are you ultimately looking to replace financial advisors?
No, I never want to replace financial advisors. But when you're starting out and you're only putting a few $100s to work, a week, there's not a whole lot of financial advisors that are interested in you. They want to get to you when you've got $250,000 or more. And that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with financial advisors. I support them in a lot of my businesses because I'm involved in the financial services industry. I'm worried about the people that are really starting or don't understand in investing, regardless of how much money they want to put aside. This is a platform that lets you use the device that you know very, very well, your phone, and download an app. Go to the App Store, download it, have a look at it. You don't have to be embarrassed about it. You don't have to be confused. It's all laid out. It's for them. And it doesn't matter, that you're not sophisticated as an investor. What matters is it's simple and it's diversified. And that's an important aspect of investing, diversification. We do that by using exchange-traded funds. We think we've got the right ones. We think we give you conservative, good companies that provide returns over long periods of time. That's the essence of it.
How did you meet the co-founder?
Well, I'd had this problem, Evan, starting about 4 years ago when Shark Tank started doing tours of high schools. We've been all over the country. And, it was in my mind, but then when I started to see what was going on last year with my own employees and the supply chains that work with my over 50 companies, I was amazed. Practically none of them have savings or investments. And I'm saying, they're young people, they're in their 20s. I'm saying, guys, this ain't gonna work. You gotta start taking care of yourself. You gotta start planning for yourself. No one's gonna be there when you're 65. You're gonna be there when you're 65. You gotta make sure you've taken care of your future. And that's when I got on the Beanstalks bandwagon. When I talked to Connor, the co-founder, I said, Connor, listen, I'm dealing with people every day. You gotta make it easy. Forget about these sophisticated trading platforms. They exist already. There's nothing wrong with them. If people want to try and buy and sell stocks like a day trader, that's fine. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about helping people invest for the long term. This is not a day trading platform. This is a way to put $100 to work a week, minimum, that's what I recommend, and let it grow. And just watch how it works. And I've made it, I haven't found one easier. So to me, it's the best platform to keep it easy.
And I think of all the people in the financial sector, you do, if not the best, one of the best jobs of just making complex things feel easy, because it's overwhelming, it's stressful, and people don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah, I built this for my kids. I mean, they're in the same boat. All of these others are. And I showed it to them and said, what do you think? And the whole idea was, can you make it so that I can set it up in 20 minutes? Because I'm busy doing my own thing. I'm in college or I'm in school, whatever it is. Make it easy. Make it like everything else I do. I do it on my phone. a lot of people don't even use laptops anymore. So this is a mobile app you can download. And I kind of use them and their friends as sort of a guide to see as we develop the features. And all they wanted was make it easier, make it easier, make it easier, make it easier, make it easier. We worked on it for over a year, and I think we brought a fantastic app to the market. And believe me, it's easy.
Someone's asking, is the app global?
Well, it's global in the sense you're going to own stocks from all around the world because we have diversification. But we're focused primarily on American large cap stocks in the portfolios. And you can see, they're very transparent. You can see the ETFs and decide what you want to do. It actually sets you up. But I believe you should have exposure to other markets too. But most people want to be domestic, and the majority of the stocks are domestic. But they're really high quality, Evan. That's what matters. You want good companies. You don't want speculative. Not when you're investing. I get it when people want to day trade stuff. That's fine, and many people do. But this is investing. It's different.
Someone's also asking, what's the difference between this and a mutual fund?
Well, a mutual fund, is something that I don't use anymore. I'm not saying they're bad, but I prefer the transparency and the tax efficiencies of exchange-traded funds. We don't use mutual funds inside bean stocks because we don't like them as much as exchange-traded funds. You can see what you own in an exchange-traded fund. It's very, very tax efficient. You don't get big surprise tax bills at the end of the season. I haven't owned a mutual fund in years and years and years. To me, it's my opinion. They're old school. They're the old days. The new trend is to get the efficiencies ETFs provide, and that's what's inside of bean stocks, ETFs. And I think they're the fastest growing. If you look at the growth of where money goes to invest in sectors, it's in exchange-traded funds. It's a very, very efficient and transparent way to invest. And again, if you don't understand what a mutual fund is versus an ETF, we do that for you inside of bean stocks. We try and make it really simple.
So if I go and sign up, am I then asked a bunch of questions based off age, asset allocation? Like, how does it then decide where to put my money?
You don't even have to do that if you don't want to. I mean, if you say you want to, save into cash X amount and the rest you want to invest, it'll do that for you. But we've made it even simpler than that. It basically asks, who you are, what your objective is, what you'd like to do over time. Those are reasonable questions to ask. But again, we've made it incredibly simple. You don't have to sit there and say, well, I want a sectoral allocation of this percent for this sector, that percent for this sector. It's inherent in what we've done inside of bean stocks. We've given you lots of diversification. We've given you an opportunity to be an investor in the markets in a way that I can't think of an easier way to do it. But again, the best way to get a feel for it, Evan, is simply download it and look at it. It's free to download. Check it out. I think we've done an amazing job in setting the steps up, and it won't take you very long, maybe 20 minutes to get set up, and then put your first $100 to work and stay at it. And remember, I want to be on your shoulder saying, don't buy that piece of crap. Invest it in your future instead.
I love it. You need to have a little augmented reality Kevin O'Leary over
I should sell that like a bobblehead that says, invest in your future, invest in your future.
Yeah, I love it.
That's what I should be doing.
How did you guys come up with the name?
There's the idea of growth. There's an old Jack and the Beanstalks adage, and I thought it was really cute. And a lot of people remember it when their mothers used to read them that story when they were young. And it's sort of a social media. And the way we spelt it, BEANSTOX, kind of made reference to stocks and indexes. It was cute. People liked it. I mean, you're looking for a name that people can remember. Jack and the Beanstalks is easy to remember. And so far, the feedback's been fantastic. And that's what I like. I love hearing from people that try it. I mean, spent a lot of time and money to set it up. Proud of that. But this is part of my whole financial literacy platform. When I run around high schools now where I talk to kids and, hopefully we're going to have a much more buoyant program next year. Obviously, COVID slowed things down, but people's interest in investing hasn't changed. That's why the markets continue to do so well. There's a real focus on the markets now, and this is a way for you to get involved if you're thinking about long term.
You seem to have taken a lot more of an active role in this business compared to the other investments that you've made. Not that you're not active, but this one seems to be extra important to you. Is that true, and how come?
Yeah, you're right. It's a good observation you're making there, Evan. It is. I spend a fair part of my week promoting it and trying to get it, in people's hands. My mother taught me something once called karma. She said, if you've been successful in life, you have to pay it back or pass it forward. And I do that with a lot of my entrepreneurs. You know, I've got a portfolio of over 50 companies now, and I spend time with them too. But it troubles me immensely now to realize that there's 100 million people in America that don't invest. 100 million. Like, that's a huge number. And you have to ask yourself, why? What happened? Did we fail them in financial literacy? Did we not teach them? We teach them everything else in high school, and you know, geography, sex education, math, reading skills, and we don't talk to them about investing. That's wrong. So it's kind of one of my, you know, missions, I guess you would call it. And any chance I get, like talking with you here today, to talk about bean stocks and really what the underlying motive is, I'm very happy to do that. I really am. I just feel it's important, and I think I would, if at the end of this and a few years from now we had a whole bunch of people saving and investing, that would be a great outcome for me. And the easier I can make it for them, the better. It's just one of those things that's beyond just a single company. It's kind of a mission statement.
I love it. Now I saw you were on Start Engine as well, raising capital for investors. Are you still looking for investors as well for this business?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a big believer in equity crowdfunding. It's a new form of financing, not just for Beanstocks, for all my companies. I mean, it competes with venture capitalists, it competes with private equity, it competes with hedge funds. I just think at times like this, you know, if you go back to 2007, 2008, Indiegogo and Kickstarter emerged from the financial crisis as a class, as a way to get entrepreneurs going. And now today, with equity crowdfunding, it's a new class of financing with the one thing that a venture capitalist can't do for you. It lets your customers of your product or service be investors in the same, which is really, really interesting. And so I'm a supporter of all that. You can learn a lot more about it at just going to startengine.com. But I think that whole shift to equity crowdfunding is one of the great things that have come out of the stress we've gone through in this latest pandemic related, you know, financial crisis, if you want to call it that.
The $100 a week target, how did you get to that number? Like, why is that the magic number you're recommending for people?
Well, again, Evan, I wanted to keep it simple. Everything's about simplicity. People can remember the name Beanstocks. They can remember $100 a week. They can remember, you know, thinking about getting over $1 million by the time they retire. Very simple themes, I think, are what are needed here. I mean, you really, if you make the average salary of $52,000 to $58,000 a year in US, you know, you think about the global market, that's one of the highest incomes in the world, but still, that's the average, $52,000. You can put aside $100 a week. There's something you're doing during the week you don't need to save that crisp 100 and put it into your future. I mean, I found, the reason I said 100, I feel everybody can do it. I challenge my own kids to do it. You know, it means when your grandmother gives you a birthday gift and a card, and, you know, maybe it's $50, $20, whatever it is, save it for yourself. That's the whole idea of Beanstocks.
Is there an age limit? Can I do this for my 11-year-old son?
I think you have to wait till you're 18. It's kind of important. The minute you open a bank account, you should be doing this. That's the way I look at it. So I think you do a great gift to your child if you started talking to them about investing. And, you know, when they open their own bank account, savings account, you link them up with a way to start investing. Remember, I keep saying saving is different than investing. You save cash, you make a nominal interest rate. Right now it's very, very, very low because rates are close to zero. But when you invest, you're investing in America's future, and it's companies that create products and services that people buy. Everybody knows Apple, for example. Everybody knows Microsoft. Those are the kind of companies you may want to own because you use their products every day and they pay dividends. And those are the kind of companies that we have inside of Beanstocks. So that's the kind of investing you'll be doing if you decide to put $100 or more aside a week and start building your portfolio.
What would you tell entrepreneurs? A lot of my audience is entrepreneurs. Some of them have made and had a lot of success. A lot of them are in the early stage of just trying to figure things out. and they're pouring everything they have into their business. And they might be saying, Kevin, I don't know. It's hard to think about the future when I'm trying to make my business fly. What advice would you tell them?
You know, what advice I tell them is you can save $100, even if you're working 25 hours a week or a day. I mean, all my entrepreneurs work all day and all night, but I also encourage them, look, get some diversification in your own portfolio. You basically got all of your eggs in one basket, your business. But there's nothing wrong with just finding $100 that you can save a week, because everybody can, and put it aside and invest it in a broad range of companies that we have through those ETFs I talked about earlier that are completely different than the company that you're working on. And that it's something that you're putting aside regardless of the outcome of your entrepreneurial journey. As you know, Evan, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you have to try 2 or 3 times. But investing is long-term, and it puts aside something that you don't have in your business, which is very, very concentrated. It gives you something called diversity, and I like that a lot in investing.
Someone in the chat was asking, they're in debt right now. Should they get out of debt first and then start this, or should they start right now?
Well, there's different kinds of debt. If they're in credit card debt, they really should get rid of that first, because they're paying somewhere between 18 and 21% interest, which is brutal. But, you know, if it's a mortgage, that's different. If you have a mortgage, that's about your assets, your home. And I would say that you want to invest beside that as well. You want to start diversifying. So I think getting rid of credit card debt first, then investing in bean stocks is a good idea. But if you're already in a mortgage, you have a car loan that you're already able to support, you should at the same time be putting $100 a week into your future in a diversified portfolio.
And for financial education for America, if you could make one change, if you were made president and you can come in and make one change across America for financial education, what would you recommend happening?
I would adopt what Florida's doing right now. You know, I have a home in Miami, and I've gone to high schools in Florida and talked to teachers and principals there. They are making it mandatory within, you know, grade school and in high school, at least in high school, to actually have financial literacy, learn about credit card debt, learn about investing, learn about the concepts of this in the curriculum. It's so important. They are the leader. You think about the educational system in America, New York, Florida, Texas, and California. They're the majority of our schools. We have about 110,000 schools. Why do I know that? Because I used to sell them software for reading and math at the Learning Company, and I dealt with almost all of them. But we, at that time, had nothing to do with financial literacy, and I regret that immensely. When I had that opportunity, when I was the largest purveyor of educational software in America, I should have got that going then. It's my mistake, and I'm trying to make up for lost time doing bean stocks now.
That's crazy how long you've been in the education business. I just realized it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I know that's just an inside out, the 110,000 buildings, the whole way it works. But Florida's done it right. They're really, really saying we can't go on any longer leaving people. Many people only get a high school education. There's nothing wrong with it. Some of the wealthiest people in America only graduate high school. But we got to teach you that you have to understand what debt is and what investing is. We have to do that. And Florida recognizes that. Hopefully that'll be adopted into New York and then Texas and California. And then when you get those states, as I learned in the days of the Learning Company, you get everybody else, because they kind of follow one of those jurisdictions or another. But that's the majority of schools in those 4 states. And I think, you know, getting out there with the Beanstocks message and getting people to try it and try investing is very important for me.
If you like that video, wait till you see my next one. Don't forget to click right over here and subscribe.